working with M. Night, what is it like?
M. Night is a super interesting director. He's a very musical director, which not all directors are. For some directors, the music is more of an afterthought or something you add, you know. It's like humans. Like some humans are like really into music and inspired by it, while others are not. But he really truly is. So for him, which is interesting, in the early stages, he will want to have a lot of conversations with the composer. And he brings the composer a lot into the storytelling and into the narrative. Like, as we were discussing early on, like, who is the butcher? What is his story? Like, what is his motive? What is his background? Kind of going a bit like deeper into the characters quite early on. And I think it's cool as a composer to be involved in that, not just getting like an almost final cut and you start like smudging some music to fix it up. So yeah, for him it's like very important to involve the music as a part of the storytelling.
Is he, I mean, I've seen his interviews. I've seen a lot of behind the scenes stuff. In terms of his vision on the set, well, from what you were there, you've only been there like, once for a little bit. How is he in terms of directing his actors and, for the lack of a better word, controlling his team or leading his team, I should say?
Yeah,
What did you think of that?
I mean, I don't really have, I've never seen anybody direct before, so I don't really have the comparison of how it is, but it seemed, I mean, to me, it seemed very like confident and kind of easygoing. It was like it didn't feel stressful to be there and watch it. They were just like kind of running the ship smoothly.
That's nice here. What's have you seen all of his films?
No, no, not at all.
You haven't seen which movies have you seen
I've
specifically?
seen The Sixth Sense. I've
Okay,
seen Unbreakable.
okay, that's a good one
I've
too.
seen Split.
Okay, that's a good
And
one too. Which one, sorry?
Old, I've seen.
Okay.
Um, I think I saw The Village like a long time ago.
Yeah, that's a great movie. Very underrated movie of his. Uh,
Yeah.
Another great
And
one of his,
Signs, obviously
Signs.
Signs.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
Signs.
Yeah, I
I
think those.
haven't seen. I wasn't really too crazy about Lady in the Water. I saw Servant the first season.
Yeah, I
Uh,
did see that too.
and then he did something else in between about the grandparents. I forget that. I haven't seen that either. It was some interesting concept.
I mean, he does a lot. It's, it's a kind of a work to keep up. He's a very, very productive person.
Have you seen The Happening?
No, I have
Okay.
not.
I remember when it came out. I'm sorry, I'm just going on a tangent here. I remember when it came out, everybody thought, what the hell did he do? Like what did M. Night Shyamalan do? I loved it. I absolutely loved
Interesting.
it.
Yeah.
So all I will say is this, Happening came out, I would say, in the early 2000s. And then just around COVID or during COVID, another movie came out called Bird Box.
Oh,
I don't know if
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I saw it.
very similar to Happening.
Okay. Yeah,
Except
I mean,
except the blindfold, like that whole thing. But it was very similar in terms of the
okay.
feel. Yeah, I just felt like they took that idea and just moved it around a little bit and turned it into something else. But
Yeah.
I love The Happening. You should watch The Happening. I think it's one of his
Yeah.
best films. And I don't know why people don't like it, but
But
it
I
is what
think
it is.
that's what's so like interesting about M. Night is that whatever he does, like people have very strong reactions because a lot of films are like people are like, yeah, it was fine. But people are either like, this is the fucking worst piece of crap ever made, or they're like, I absolutely loved it. So I think it's always good as an artist when you can also get, kind of polarized opinions. That is
It
just
is.
not
It
the
is.
middle timer.
Because then you're not pleasing everybody, right? You're just
Yeah.
making a film that you want to make, whether
Yeah.
people like it or not, that's up to them. But nevertheless, it's it has so much tension in that movie. Um, and it's just completely out of the box. But I urge you to see it. He yeah, he was really, really targeted with that movie, and I think that movie and Lady in the Water kind of put a stop to all of his films until he made a comeback, and now he's self-financed, which is like crazy and amazing. I mean, kudos to him that he does that. That's awesome.
Hmm.
Uh, just kind of wrapping it up, who are some of the directors that you would love to work with?
Um, I always find it a little bit hard to like drop names, but I think like my what I'm really interested in as an artist is to be approached with filmmakers that are telling a story that I want to be a part of telling, something that I feel is important. And yeah, I hope that, one day I will work with um, a beautiful artistic director that I can share a vision with. I would say like kind of the films that I like are get a little bit more in the maybe art house
Mm.
field.
Real stories.
Yeah. Or I mean, it can be sci-fi, but I also believe that like aliens are probably real and all that. So it doesn't have to be in a certain thing, but as long as I find the story like interesting and moving
I
and all
think
that.
the key word is what M. Night does so well is that, you look at, I don't know if you've ever seen Independence Day, which came out like 30 years ago almost. It's about
I
alien
have seen it. I think I watched it for the first time just in COVID or something.
right. So when
Yeah,
it
I have
first
seen it.
came out, like I was in my early 20s. I loved it, right? I thought it was great. I loved all these different stories. But as you get older and older and you start realizing, and then being in the films myself, like stories that I want to tell, I like to tell stories that are very, very tight and grounded, like with as less characters as possible, so you have more time to explore them. And that's what M. Night does so really, really well. It's like he just creates this world. Even with Trap, I may have my disagreements with it, but it's just this world that he creates that you feel like this is the world and that's it. Like nothing else exists, which is so incredible talent to have. And I get it. So that's what you are into too. So that's awesome. Tell me about your if you don't mind sharing. You said your dad is a philosopher and your mom is a political activist. I would love to hear about that. If you're
No,
comfortable.
yes, he studied like political science and
Political
was
science.
later. Yeah, I think like, sorry, what was the question?
What do they do? Like what does a philosopher do?
I mostly teach and work on writing and working on thesis and that kind of stuff. But I think, I think it was pretty cool because my dad would, from a young age, always, he would very much like teach me about the moment and being bored and the importance of boredom, which I think is a very valuable lesson for children,
Yes.
because I think, especially in modern times, we're being bombarded with information with our telephones and everything. And it's kind of the killer of creative thought and just thinking in general and just pondering and going inward. So I've kind of practiced that and taken it with me that whatever I'm doing, if I'm like waiting in a line at the bank or um, waiting for the bus or whatnot, just to be, just to stare, just to observe and just and I'm not saying I'm perfect at it. Obviously, I open my phone sometimes and get sucked into doom scrolling, on social media. But I really appreciated that, even though I hated him for it. He lived in the countryside, and I was there for like days on end, and he would be like, "Figure it out." And it ended up with me being a 9 or 10-year-old, and I started my own business, and I was walking between towns in the countryside, like selling ribbons to support cancer. I just like figured out ways to entertain myself and not be bored. And I taught myself how to like do the walking skis and whatever. So I think it's a beautiful experience. And then